Hello and welcome to MNB World. This is Cycle, a program where you'll get the latest news on the economy and politics. I'm your host, GANBAATAR. After a strong initial rebound, Mongolia's economic recovery stalled in the last 3 quarters of 2021, and the growth outlook for 2022 is expected to remain modest. Following a contraction of 4.4% in 2020 and 1.4% growth in 2021, the World Bank's latest Mongolia economic update projects that the economy will grow by 2.5% in 2022, reflecting lingering border frictions with China and the situation in Ukraine. Despite continued policy support and high commodity prices, economic growth is dragged down by protracted trade disruptions and logistical bottlenecks amid border closures. Headline inflation rose sharply to 14.4% by March 2022, weighing down real incomes and household consumption. The war in Ukraine amplified external risk, resulting in increased demand for foreign exchange and further erosion of international reserves, according to the report. The report notes that main drivers of growth included a recovery in the service sector and a short-lived rebound of the mining sector in the first quarter of 2021. On the demand side, domestic investment was the key driver of growth, underpinned by a substantial buildup of mineral inventories. However, private consumption contracted by 4% in 2021, despite the government's stimulus program. The report also notes that disruptions in bilateral trade with China in 2021 hampered mining exports and the import of vital inputs for domestic production. Over the medium term, the report projects economic growth to accelerate to above 6% in 2023 through 2024, as the underground mining phase of Mongolia's largest copper mine, Oyu Tolgoi, is expected to become operational during the second half of 2023. Policy space is increasingly constrained after 2 years of expansionary fiscal policies, with persistent fiscal imbalances threatening long-term sustainability, says the report. Public spending increased in 2021, driven mainly by generous but poorly targeted welfare programs. Meanwhile, public debt, including the central bank's swap agreement, increased sharply to about 92% of GDP in 2021, driven by large COVID-related fiscal measures to support the economy. The headline budget deficit nonetheless narrowed to 3.1% of GDP, with a one-off tax arrears collection and the financing of child money program through the Future of Heritage Fund, which weakened the fiscal framework and long-term sustainability. The report highlights that monetary policy needs to return to a credible inflation anchor, raise interest rates further, curtail quasi-fiscal activity. Fiscal consolidation is necessary to stabilize debt and ensure external and public debt sustainability. Importantly, fiscal measures that better target the poor can help contain fiscal imbalances and sustain support to the most vulnerable households. The report also notes that need for structural reforms, including measures to reduce trade and transport costs, facilitating foreign investment and promoting domestic entrepreneurship that would help strengthen growth in the medium term. Mongolian entrepreneurs exploit cheap wool for new products. Mongolia is home to about 30 million sheep, but unlike the merino breed prevalent in Australia and New Zealand, whose soft, fine wool is valued for sweaters, scarves, and other clothing almost as much as cashmere, Mongolia's 50 native breeds produces fleece too thick and coarse for such use. With prices for sheep's wool stagnating around 2,000 MNT a kilogram, local entrepreneurs have begun cooking up new uses for the material, giving hope that the country can move up from its reliance on commodity exports as well as boost farm incomes. A factory in Tu province southeast of Ulaanbaatar city, run by the Mont Pellets company, applies German technology, using imported machines to clean wool to remove bacteria and then crush it into a powder. The powder in turn is pressed into cylindrical pellets that can retain 3.5 times their weight and support plant growth for up to 10 months, according to the company's tests. Mont Pellets exported 20 tons of pellets to Germany in 2019, then double its foreign sales the next year. After hitting 80 tons in 2021, it aims to bring 240,000 euros in revenue by exporting 220 tons this year and is seeking financing to build a second factory. Meanwhile, in Datchan city, an industrial city near Mongolia's frontier with Russia, BMW Midway's company EcoWool has taken a fresh look at sheep's wool as an insulator. After 7 years of testing and developing, the company began exporting rolls of chemical-free sheep's wool insulation to Japan in 2018, as well as selling to local customers. Unfortunately, Chinese border closures to control COVID have disrupted exports for EcoWool, as well as for much bigger Mongolian companies. India has assured Mongolia assistance to develop its space, telecommunications and energy sectors, including expediting creation of oil refinery. The assurance was extended during last week's visit of Deputy NSA Vikram Misri, who called on President of Mongolia Khursulkhna. Ms. Ri is understood to have given assurance on the timely completion of the oil refinery project being built with Indian assistance. Mongolia is the beneficiary of India's single largest line of credit for the construction of a $1.2 billion oil refinery project in Donggala province, capable of producing 1.5 million tonnes per annum oil, roughly 3/3 of domestic the country's consumption. It is expected to be completed by the end of this year, and Engineers India Limited are part of the project. The refinery will address 75% of Mongolia's requirements. The country sources its fossil fuel from its biggest neighbor and traditional ally, Russia. India is also assisting Mongolia to build its railway and power infrastructure to help transport Mongolia's mineral wealth, according to persons familiar with the development. Mongolia has a significant amount of uranium deposits. A working group for cooperation in the field of nuclear energy has been set up between the respective agencies of the two countries, the Department of Atomic Energy and the Nuclear Energy Agency of Mongolia. For most Mongolians, India is a spiritual neighbor, a declared third neighbor, a strategic partner and center for pilgrimage, with Buddhism as the common connection. Responding to the request of Mongolian government, India became the first country to gift 150,000 doses of made-in-India Covishield vaccine by AstraZeneca in February 2021. India has a bargaining defense partnership with Mongolia. The joint India-Mongolia exercise Nomadic Elephant is held annually. It was held at Ulaanbaatar in September 2018, and in 2019 it was held in October 2019 at Baklao, Himachal Pradesh. Indian Armed Forces observers regularly participate in the annual multilateral peacekeeping exercise Conquest in Mongolia. India also offers training both in civilian and defense courses under the ITEC program to Mongolians. Chinese miner ZIJIN Mining Group Co. Ltd. said on Wednesday that it would buy stake in XANADU Mines Ltd. with an eye towards obtaining copper and gold resources in Mongolia. In a filing to the Shanghai Stock Exchange, ZIJIN said it signed an agreement with XANADU Mines to acquire 19.9% stake in the company at $0.02 per share and a 50% stake in XANADU's subsidiary Hut Metals Pte Ltd for $35 million. Eventually, ZIJIN aims to take a 45.9% stake in Mongolia's Harmakhta copper and gold mine through Hut Metals' 76.5% stake in the mine, the company said. The Harmakhta mine is estimated to hold 2.93 million tons of copper and 7.8 million ounces or 243 tons of gold, according to XANADU's 2021 annual report. Under Phase 1, ZIJIN will subscribe to 139 million fully paid ordinary shares in XANADU to provide it with a 9.9% shareholding in the latter. The Phase 1 placement is planned to be conducted at an issue price of $0.04 per share. The company thinks the project has a large amount of resources and total investment is low, ZIJIN said in the filing, noting that its expertise in developing low-grade resources will facilitate the investment. ZIJIN currently runs overseas copper projects in Serbia and the Democratic Republics of the Congo. It has gold mines in Colombia, Australia, Papua New Guinea, and others. The company's first quarter net profit surged 144% from the same period a year earlier to 6.1 billion yuan, after posting a record annual profit for 2021. ION Energy CEO Ali Haji is in Mongolia for strategic site visits from April 16 to 26 in anticipation of sharing plans with the market for planning drilling programs. He was accompanied by senior technical team members, including ION Director Ichtufshin Luhishiksurung, with 30 years of Mongolian mineral discovery experience, Don Heinz, lead technical advisor, and Dr. Mark King. The visit provided ION's CEO the opportunity to personally thank the dedicated exploration team members for their commitment and flexibility since the onset of the pandemic in furthering drilling program at the flagship BAKYEI lithium brine site while keeping each other safe and healthy. This in-country visit is a significant milestone for ION Energy after 2 years of pandemic-related delays and border closures. The following highlights how the company plans to advance each of these programs: TM geophysics and hydrogeological sampling. ION Energy CEO will provide a quick update following the site visits. Studies continue to improve railway cooperation between Turkey and Mongolia. At a meeting held at the General Directorate of Turkish State Railways, a consensus was reached to improve railway cooperation between the two countries. A meeting held by TCDD General Manager Metin Akbas, the Mongolian Ministry of Road and Transport Development Under Secretary Batwal Sandıktar, Railway and Maritime Policy Implementation Coordination Department Specialist Arthur Biambio, Mongolian Railway KIT Head of Projects and Investment Department Myeongmur Surunzuvge in the meeting held with the participation of GANBAATAR Tumurzam, Deputy General Manager Lofson Dashinghwal. Some brief information about the institutions was shared. The Mongolian delegation stated that they wanted to cooperate in their new projects and requested a proposal from TCDD TEKNIK for the feasibility studies of the freight wagon factory planned to be established in Mongolia, and that they would need railway vehicles when the projects were completed. TCDD General Manager Metin Akbas stated that this meeting, where the railway stakeholders of the two countries came together, formed a good basis for possible cooperation and that concrete steps should be taken in this direction. Akbas noted that it would be beneficial to start the visibility studies for the preparation and soon signing a protocol that will involve all railway stakeholders for the development of cooperation between the two countries in the field of railways. Ministry of Road and Transport Development Under Secretary Batwal Sandekdor emphasized that they appreciate Turkey's development and success in the field of railways. Sandekdor stated that they can benefit from TCDD's experience in this field. Turquoise Hill Resources Limited announced their first quarter 2022 production details and provided an Oyu Tolgoi LC mine and corporate update. As planned, first quarter of 2022, copper and gold production from the open pit and underground was lower versus first quarter of 2021 due to the lower copper and gold head grade. Expenditures on property, plant and equipment for 2022 are now expected to be approximately $155 million to $185 million for open pit operations due to schedule changes impacting the timing of spend. This is compared to the company's original guidance of $170 million to $200 million. Mill throughput of 9.58 million tons in first quarter of 2021 was 9% lower than fourth quarter of 2021 and 2% lower than first quarter of 2021, in line with expectations due to the planned maintenance. During the first quarter of 2022, COVID-19 cases identified at Oyu Tolgoi have trended downward. Consequently, on-site workforce numbers over the quarter increased to approximately 90% of plan with mobilization of personnel across multiple work fronts. COVID-19 related restrictions for international arrivals to Mongolia have been lifted. The total cumulative increase to the definitive estimate underground development capital cost due to the impacts of COVID-19 through the end of first quarter of 2022 increased by $20 million to $195 million. This increase includes the currently known incremental time-related cost of COVID-19 restrictions. The underground mine cost and schedule review and update is underway and is still expected to be completed in the second quarter of 2022. During the first quarter 2022, the combined open pit and underground operations produced 30.3 thousand tons of copper in concentrate and 59,000 ounces of gold in concentrate. This was a planned reduction from fourth quarter of 2021 due to lower throughput and a reduction in the both copper and gold head grades. As previously disclosed, the open pit optimization opportunities to reduce the impact of the previously forecast metal deferral are improving in definition. Related work is still expected to be incorporated into an updated mine plan in the third quarter of 2022. Recently, some high-ranking Russian officials have claimed that the US held talks with Mongolia about establishing biological laboratories following the start of Russia's military operations in Ukraine. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia issued an official statement on its website and social media accounts stating that these are false and unsubstantiated claims. On April 18th, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia, Batsitsek Batmuch, gave a statement regarding the allegations.
Mongolian laws and regulations have no goals or grounds for developing such laboratories. There were no talks or negotiations held with the US or European Union on establishing such laboratories. This information has been published 4 times in the Russian newspaper Izvestia. It was also reported by Chinese media. Regarding this, I would like to state that the information is undeniably false. Mongolia continues to pursue a peaceful, open, multi-pillared foreign relations policy. If necessary, it is possible to invite independent international organizations to assess the laboratories in Mongolia. We have detailed information on all projects, programs, and studies that Mongolia's public organizations have implemented with foreign investment and funding. The relevant organizations reported to members of the MPP caucus that there are no grounds for these claims. It was also reported to the President of Mongolia, the Speaker of Parliament, and the Prime Minister. Since the beginning of the armed conflict, the media war has intensified and everyone has been making reports to destabilize the political situation and create misunderstanding within the country. In Mongolia, everything is transparent. It's an open, democratic country with freedom of expression. There is no denying that this situation is being exploited to divide the country.
Minister Batmukh added that Mongolia maintains diplomatic relations and cooperation with 193 countries and that about 400 diplomats are working to regulate Mongolia's complex political and economic foreign relations. Mongolia's first metal powder project, the STEPPE metal powder plant, launched operations in Ulaanbaatar on April 11th. Mongolian engineers and technicians worked with experts from the United Kingdom and Germany to build the high-tech plant meeting European standards in 2 years. The plant, which is now officially open, celebrated for implementing the objectives of Mongolia's new revival policy and producing an important component for the fourth industrial revolution. Industry experts say that with the commissioning of the plant, the productivity and competence of local engineers and technicians will be vastly improved, and the door will be open for export diversification and the production of value-added items to replace imported products. On behalf of the government of Mongolia and myself, I would like to thank your team for successfully operating a high-level steel processing plant. We are happy to be able to supply value-added products to the economy and create products that replace imports in the face of the pandemic. Our sincere thanks go to the foreign experts and Mongolian engineers and technicians who worked on this project. The government plans to support the plant. Steppe Copper LLC initiated a powder metallurgical plant project and received a loan from International Investment Bank, an international financial institution based in Budapest, Hungary. More than 50 domestic companies, including Baba Construction LLC, Steppe Solar, Steppe Link, and Inter-Reliance Logistics, participated in its construction. Experts believe that the construction and commissioning of the plant, which can produce 3,000 tons of metal powder per year, will create more than 20 new specialized jobs in Mongolia. The plant is also expected to lay the foundation for technological progress by improving the skills of Mongolian engineers and creating new value-added export products.
It will be very important for the Mongolian economy. Mongolia is known as a mining country, very important in this sector. However, as we have learned today, that there are a very limited number of countries which produce metal powder. So, producing and exporting metal powder will immensely contribute to the Mongolian economy. So, Turkey can be one of the buyers of this product. So, if we are going to, of course, organize some high-level events soon, like business forums and so on. So, our companies can come together and explore the possibilities of further cooperation in this sector.
In charge of all electrical and mechanical installations and also assisting with the melt and the atomizing. It went absolutely brilliant today. We did 3 melts yesterday and the day before just to make sure it went well, and it went even better today. And I oversee all the electrical installation, all of the mechanical installation, and the testing and basically the running of the plant.
The plant will produce copper, brass, bronze, tin and other metals for export to China, the European Union, Japan and South Korea. The plant will also give Mongolia a greater opportunity to develop the smart production of automotive parts, equipment and electronics, and recycle copper waste to reduce environmental pollution. Demand for powdered metals, a relatively new field in the global metallurgical industry, is growing due to the energy efficiency standards for a new technology. Well, that's all for this episode of Cycle. Thank you for staying with us. We will see you again next time. Have a nice weekend. Goodbye.